Hello again, everyone. It's Saturday, April 17, 2021, and Pat Storyteller here again. This time I will be reading from my self-published ebook, In Through a Colored Lens, a recollection of a friend of mine, a dear friend of mine, a recollection of the life of a dear friend of mine. Before I start that reading, I want to this week point your attention to the channel Blissful Divination, and I'll put the link in the information below. This is Shay who runs the channel Blissful Divination, and she covers really interesting topics, worldwide topics, from politics to personalities in her insightful readings. So I really recommend going and having a look. One of her recent topics is whether there will be statehood in the United States for Puerto Rico and Washington, D.C. She looks at the situation in Myanmar, also in China, many interesting topics, and the British royal family, so on. Anyway, and also please still go have a look at Sonia Rae Lee's channel. I'll also put the link for her channel below. She has an interesting roster of guests on healing and staying healthy, especially during these interesting times for our health in human history. And alright, here we go with Remembering Fred. Remembering Fred. A dear friend of mine went to the great beyond recently. He was one of the kindest, most loving beings I have ever had the privilege to encounter. Of course, he wasn't perfect, but his gift of giving and receiving love superseded any flaws that come with anyone living on this planet. Fred came into my family's life about 9 years ago. In fact, he became a member of our family as much as someone can who is adopted into a home. In other words, fully. We were overjoyed to welcome him. He filled a space in our lives that was just right. At first, he was a bit shy with us, but gradually he warmed to us, so that other family members would argue about who Fred took to the most. When we were first getting to know him, we would call him Big Head Fred. When he was smaller, his head just seemed to be that much bigger than his body. Fred didn't mind the moniker. Eventually, of course, he grew and we had to drop the descriptive and just call him Fred. He took that with equanimity as well. And Fred was no angel. Those who are left to mourn him still recall his days of wild living. At some point, Fred took to leaving the house in the evening and not coming back until morning. He used to do this on a regular basis, and when he didn't go out, he would be unhappy, moping around the place. Eventually, Fred took up with another nightlifer, and they had a baby. We took that in stride as well, understanding that these events are, after all, a part of life. The problem was that after Fred's mate had the baby, Fred lost interest in her. The rest of us were appalled. It was hard to accept that the Fred we loved and cared for, and who we could see as being so loving, could be so callous. On Sundays, when she would visit with the baby in tow, Fred would hardly give them the time of day. Let's just say it was a dark chapter in our relationship. Discouraged, the ex-mate stopped visiting. Word was that she and the offspring were living in back alleyways and garages, and that the youngster had gone over the edge, was hard to approach, and would easily become agitated. As much as we love Fred, we still shake our heads at this. The slow descent to losing Fred began a few years ago when he began to complain about having to climb stairs. He began to slow down, taking longer and longer to get to the top. He would also get moody. He was not friendly with visitors and would complain loudly when they came by, or he would go hide in a room by himself. He had trouble with his bathroom duties, and he stopped going out. A visit to his doctor revealed health complications that had to be treated. Bearing the cost was not easy. Fred had no health insurance and no income, but he received treatment and seemed to improve. However, other problems began to appear. He was diagnosed with a form of degenerative arthritis. His joints began to stiffen up. He had to be helped up and down the stairs. We had to take him to the bathroom. Medication did not help. His bones became brittle, and one day a fall led to broken bones. That was the turning point. Near the time of Fred's passing, he was completely unable to stand or sit. We had to feed him, since he could not hold himself up to eat. So we looked to Fred for signs of what he wanted, because it was difficult to understand much of what he was vocalizing. One thing we did understand, though, was that he needed and wanted our love. We knew he was ready to go when he stopped taking water. As a family, we took the heart-wrenching decision to help him along his way. It was difficult enough making the decision, but taking him to the veterinarian was just too hard. We got the help of a friend to do it. There they gave him a muscle relaxant and then an injection of barbiturates, and within 3 seconds his heart stopped. We miss Fred, but we know, given the suffering in his last days, that he is in a better place. We're thinking about getting another cat, but it's still too soon. We need some time to adjust. Here we go with our card reading for this session for fun. For fun. message already? What do we have from my guide? Relief. Oh, well. Well, sure, why not? Anyone seeking relief? Relief is here, or it's on the way. Whenever you see this, that's when it is. Relief.